Hannele here, talking to you about human design. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the spleen, which is the other brown triangle here. It's on the other side. On the solar plexus side you have the red triangle there, but the spleen is on the other side. And the spleen is not correlated to the spleen in the body, by the way. I don't really know why it's called the spleen, but basically you could look at it like this. It's the ultimate survival center. So if you look at any living forms in this planet, the first awareness that we have had in this, what we call life, is intuition. You know, you can look at animals and you know how they can sense an earthquake before it happens? That's intuition. It's related to this. Spleen Center. So it's a very, very sharp awareness of the now. And it's so tuned into the now, and it has aspects of being able to, I don't say predict the future, but get hunches about the future. And it's super accurate, but it's very quiet. And of course, over the years, as we learn to navigate from our mind and listen to our minds, what we've actually ended up doing is we've silenced our intuition in the spleen center, where it's really, really sharp awareness. If you have a defined, colored in center here in the spleen, it just means that you have an immune system that works in a consistent basis. I like to use the metaphor of, like, imagine that you have an inner washing machine. So, you know, all kinds of toxins and crap that we put in our bodies in various ways. It's like you have an inner washing machine that will just clear off that crap. And generally, I find, I mean, of course, it depends how well you look after your body or whether you're correct or not. But a lot of people who have spleen defined, I find that they can be very healthy. You know, they can have this sense of like not getting sick very often, but when you do get sick, you get really sick. You can imagine that if that washing machine operates on a daily basis, sometimes it just needs a good clear out, therefore it gets really sick. And then you have to have like a maintenance operation, let's say. So the spleen is something that operates in the now. It will tell you, for example, if you're driving somewhere and you kind of think that you know where you're going, and then you suddenly get a hunch, some kind of intuitive hit, you should take that turn. And then let's say that you don't take it. You drive a little bit further and you say, oh, I could see it. My intuition said turn that way and that was the right way, but I didn't take it because I didn't listen to it. Okay, so it's like the intuition can really let you know about something in an instant, but it will only let you know once, and it's really quiet. So it requires tuning in to that. So if you have a spleen defined, it's really a good idea to start really listening to your intuition. If it's your authority, meaning that you don't have sacral and you don't have solar plexus, you have a spleen, then that intuition is really how you make decisions. And it's so quiet and it's so acute into the now that you have to become really sensitive and sharp to be able to pick up that voice, that inner voice in your body that lets you know whether something is correct for you or not. If you have another authority and you do have the spleen, it's like you still have the sense of the intuition, but it's not your decision-making authority. If you're emotional, for example, you still have to wait out your waves, you know. But the spleen can inform you of immediate danger, for example. Let's say that you're going to step on a snake, something that happens in your body that just pulls you away from it, you know. But decisions are always going to be coming down to the inner authority. If your spleen is white, so you don't have a definition in your spleen, that's when your not self mind can get into that. And this is where it becomes really interesting. I have an open spleen. I have an undefined spleen. So how it shows up in my life is that I don't know what's good for me. I don't know if this is gonna be safe for me to do this. I get hooked onto people who have spleen, who make me feel safe and secure. I don't feel safe in my body. I'm looking at all kinds of ways to, I don't know, just get a sense of like I'm being cared for. It kind of feels like a hug in a way. Take that. So the open spleen is looking for security and safety. It's looking for something. It's kind of like looking for that intuition from somewhere else, And there's a danger because you can get hooked on to the wrong people. Some people can make you feel safe just because they have the spleen. Does not mean that those people are good for you. But we just want to have that sense of safety and security so much so that we don't care where it's coming from. Good advice for somebody who has an open spleen is to become really aware of your health and try and avoid like toxins. We don't have this kind of consistent washing machine inside of us, so to put toxins in our bodies can be really damaging for us. There is an advice that, for an open spleen, if you have that, it would be better to take care of your health with natural products and remedies. Whereas if you have a spleen defined, they can probably take in some Western medicine and their bodies will just wash it off if there's any crap in it. But for an open spleen, a lot of the Western medicine can be damaging. So not all of it, of course, but again, using your inner authority to decide what you put in your body would be a good idea. But the open spleen can get really hooked on all kinds of stuff, like washing your hands a lot because you're afraid of germs, because you don't feel safe and secure, because you don't have this immune system that is constantly working, it can be all kinds of things. So to understand yourself from this perspective, if you don't have a spleen defined, then it's really about watching your mind and how it tries to get you to feel safe by all kinds of stuff that you end up doing or people that you hook on to, whether or not those methods or people are correct for you. It's just that you're constantly looking for something that is going to put you at ease and make you feel safe for that little while. But it's about wisdom, And, you can also have an intuition. It might just not be that it's necessarily consistent, So learning to watch ourselves and our openness in these themes is really useful. And if spleen is your authority, tuning is a quiet communication mechanism. But it can really, really save you from all kinds of resistance in life.